I would never be able to make it as a gay guy. I just couldn't do it.
The body image issues alone.
The body image
I think
issues
I couldn't.
alone. You ever, like, actually talk to a gay guy about what they do to maintain their physique?
Right. They drink chicken. That can't taste good.
You know it doesn't taste good. It's like, you know, for people that are so pleasure-oriented.
Yeah.
They're so, like, aesthetic in some ways. It's like, why do you save all your pleasure for your butthole and not, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Your tummy.
Why don't you enjoy food?
Welcome to Boo-Foo, the podcast by us and for you.
It's the podcast where two melanated lesbians in New York City share our perfect opinions.
I'm Muna.
And I'm Priya.
Let's get into it, buffoons. All right, so we had our launch party recently.
And it was insane, I think.
It was wild.
That's how I would describe it.
A time was had.
It was a blast. Shout out to all of our buffoons who showed up in person.
Yes, thank you for coming through.
Yeah, and y'all are gorgeous, by the way.
Y'all are all fine.
Beautiful. Can't wait to share those pics with y'all. And it's just so fun to gather in person. You know, I feel like we didn't really appreciate that concept until it was taken from us in the pandemic, but it's beautiful to gather in person.
That's true.
Shout out to the Bush.
Shout out to the Bush.
And I loved, we wanted to get a Palestinian flag to hang up in our...
And we didn't have to because they had one for us. A really incredible space, a dyke bar for queers, which I've always loved that about it.
Yeah. It's just fun to gather in person, and that's something we really want to bring into our buffooniverse. Ooh.
Buffooniverse?
I just coined that term.
Okay.
Where we want to have a lot of in-person events with y'all. We want to connect in real life.
The BCU.
Yes.
The Buffoon Cinematic Universe.
Right. But it was fun. It's always great to gather in person. Thank you all.
I think we should incorporate events as sort of a regular part
Definitely.
of Boo-Foo.
Yeah, I mean, we want to build community. We want to build in real life community.
Yeah.
That's something we shared, something I was saying, like, when the world and the government falls apart around us, we got us.
Yeah, we got us.
Through our community, through mutual aid.
We hold each other down.
Yeah,
for
so
real.
Come through and make some friends, too. Like, get to know each other, buffoons. Like,
I love seeing people mix and mingle from different parts of my life,
Mm-hmm, I do. Alfred the Elephant's drag debut.
You buried the lead.
I did.
You buried the lead here. We need to chat about Alfred.
It's so funny to me how easy all of that came together for me.
I know. You're a natural.
Thank you for saying that.
Was that your first time?
It was my drag debut.
Wow.
And it's so funny because...
Give it up for Priya, guys.
Thank you.
Drag debut.
Thank you, for real.
Furry drag debut.
Furry drag.
At that.
Exactly. Who else is doing it like that?
Nobody.
And you know what's so funny? I didn't even realize. I mean, I thought it was funny, obviously, but I didn't even realize how ridiculous it was until you were, like, recounting. Like, imagine a Midwestern conservative person just seeing the flyer for our party. It's like, okay, Black, brown lesbians in New York City. Furry drag. You know what I mean?
Furry drag. Hard left.
Like,
Keep them on their toes.
Exactly.
You never know.
They couldn't predict this.
They never saw it coming. It is, it's a little off-brand for me.
Okay.
I'm not going to lie. But it was mesmerizing.
Thank you.
I couldn't look away. So if you weren't there, Alfred, who is Ellie's shy younger brother.
Right, pansexual younger brother.
A graduate of Brooklyn Tech.
Yeah, the lore goes deep.
The backstory here...
It's so fun.
Well, I introduced Alfred And when I read your bio, I almost couldn't make it through. Brooklyn Tech?
I don't know.
You're so silly. You are so silly.
Shout out to Brooklyn Tech.
Shout out to Brooklyn Tech, I guess.
I think I want to say something like it has the highest rate of like Black students out of all the specialized high schools.
That's why you pick Brooklyn Tech.
Kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, and also, you know, I'm in Brooklyn now. And I feel like Ellie's from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Alfred's from Brooklyn.
Alfred's from Brooklyn.
You know.
Now, Alfred is also a really big fan of Cisco.
He is. Yeah. Cisco's #1 fan. Cisco, who I claim as a queer icon. I know he's never come out, but like, what kind of straight person is doing all that? You know what I mean?
I don't know. It's Miami.
Right. You're right.
They stay doing too much.
It's true. The little, you know, fire tummy tattoo. You know what I mean? Like, whatever the hell that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The belly button tattoo. Do you have a soul patch?
Yeah, that sounds right. Some of the facial hair sounds
blonde
like
hair.
Yeah, and he was always coloring it a different color.
The vest.
The vest. I also it came together for me so easily because I was Ellie the Elephant for Halloween last year, and then 2 years ago I was Cisco. So I had the pieces for that.
Wow.
Yeah, it really.
You just smashed them together.
It really, yeah. It was in my destiny, I think, to complete this performance.
Drag to the thong song. Elephant furry drag to the thong song. You know, I don't think that elephants are like a common furry animal.
Right.
There's a lot of foxes and dragons, wolves.
Cats.
Yeah, cats.
Yeah. You know, representing.
What's wrong with elephants?
Yeah, exactly.
Feels kind of racist.
Yeah, doesn't it? What's wrong with our African and Asian elephants?
It was a lot of fun. Thank you all for coming out.
Yeah, and Muna's question and answer period.
I forgot lovely. I did a question
you
and
killed
answer
that.
period.
You were really helping out the community with some advice there.
I love giving advice.
Yes, you do.
I really do. Tell me about your problems.
Yes. That was fun.
It was a lot of fun. Honestly, I would love to find a way to incorporate advice into our regular buffooniverse.
Yeah, in our buffooniverse.
Into our buffooniverse.
Buffoons, write into us, email us.
boofupod@gmail.com.
Yeah, let us know your problems.
We're also, when we have more of an Instagram presence, which these sexy ass pics will help with.
They will.
We would probably love to solicit there too, I imagine.
Yeah, so stay in touch. We have a really fun episode for you guys today.
We do.
We interview Jes Tom,
a non-binary Asian American actor, writer, stand-up comic, a friend of mine who's written for Our Flag Means Death and recently crushed it on Hannah Gadsby's Netflix special, Gender Agenda.
Agenda.
I must say, every time I say that, I do laugh. Agenda. But yeah, I've known them for a while. So it was really nice to have a friend on the pod.
Totally. Yeah, and I've gotten to know them through you. And it was a blast recording. I've just been a fan, for a long time, especially queer Asian comics. There's not a ton of us. And I feel like Jes really is a trailblazer in that way. I remember, back when they were performing and they were, identified as a lesbian or a dyke. And then recently they have transitioned, and I love hearing them identify as a twink, So they've been on quite a journey.
I'm a holdover from the dyke era.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I'm an OG Jes fan. But yeah, no, they're doing so well.
Yeah.
And they're so funny.
They are.
And it was so great to chat to them.
It was. And we got them right after their run of Red Ink.
Yeah, Cecilia Gentili's one-woman show, Red Ink, which they starred in. I think Peppermint also did a run, and Angelica Ross was the other actress.
And so this was a play, by Cecilia about her life, an autobiographical play.
So Cecilia's amazing one-woman show, Red Ink, which was at the Breaking the Binary Theater, was a special event because it was the same space and the same folks that put on the show with Cecilia initially before she had passed.
Yeah, and it was so beautiful to watch Jes put on that play and embody Cecilia and share her life story with us.
Yeah.
So that was really great to catch up with them. We chatted about gay reality TV, The Boyfriend.
We talked about The Boyfriend.
We were hooked on that.
Well, they really opened our eyes on The Boyfriend.
They did.
So stay tuned. Which Di and Shun are actually back together.
I love to see it.
After the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've reunited. It's super cute. We also chatted about the election. Yuck.
But we gotta.
But we had to. We had our vegetables.
We did.
Let's get into the episode.
Enjoy, buffoons. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Jes.
Thank you. Thank you both for coming.
Oh,
Yeah, it means a lot to me.
was really spiritual.
Thank you.
It was. I was there opening night.
Yes.
And you were there closing.
I was. We sandwiched you.
So you bookended.
We did.
We bookended. We absolutely did.
I really feel like I saw her there. Like you captured. I mean, I didn't know Cecilia like you both did personally, but I really saw her on stage with you there in that storytelling.
It's been really interesting because I'm like, I mean, this is appropriate for the show, which is largely about like the question of whether or not God exists, like to Cecilia. But I'm like not a very spiritual person. And I contend a lot with the idea that I'm maybe, like, cut off from my, like, psychic and spiritual abilities.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, to do this has been really interesting and has really, I don't know, just, like, forced me to occupy that space.
Wow. That's interesting you say that because I feel like all of my trans friends are God in a way. Like definitely way closer to God than any other people I know. And I don't know.
This is a diverse trifecta of faiths.
It's true.
It is.
It's true.
Look at us here.
Yeah.
I was raised Hindu.
I was raised Muslim.
And I was not raised religious at all.
Oh yeah.
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 And then you have Cecilia telling her Catholic story.
Yes.
Being raised Catholic.
Catholic and Baptist.
I am Baptist, that's right.
There were so many that callback of I'm an atheist, but and I love that contradiction of, you know, she's like claiming her atheism, but also letting us know about this like litany of spiritual events, like really holy things that have happened to her, and kind of like pointed her forward in her life. I was very moved. I was sad. I'll just be honest.
It is sad.
It's sad.
It is sad.
It made me sad, and I think the way that the space was stripped bare, right? And almost like there was so much negative space. It's like a hack to feeling a presence. You know what I mean? That's why churches are so big. And mosques are so big. I feel like negative space to let the God in.
Do you mean like the set of the show?
So I guess we should describe the set. The set is super stripped back, bare. Just the podium and you, really.
And you were working that podium.
You had her all over the stage. She put in the work.
Thank you. Well, that stuff was new. I mean, something.
Does her back hurt from carrying the show? Just kidding.
Something to know about the set and staging of that show is that the set is exactly the same as when Cecilia did it. And she did it in that theater, so it was really, it was emotional for a lot of people who had seen it with Cecilia because that was what it looked like. It was exactly the same as the setup for the show.
I was going to see it, and then I didn't, and I feel like I have felt so much regret about it since.
But how beautiful for them to put on this show and continue her legacy that way.
It was very moving.
I feel you, obviously, to see it with Cecilia would have been such a powerful experience. But how did it feel for you, knowing her personally and grieving her at the same time?
I mean, it was honestly a lot.
Yeah.
Because, and I feel like, kind of as a mass, people have lost sight of this, but she did pass very recently.
Very recently.
Very recently.
Yes.
So I do think the whole project like, I think it meant a lot to people that we did it. I think it really touched people and moved people, and it was a huge honor for me to be a part of. I am also like, wow, like, this did not happen that long ago for us to be doing this. So, everybody is still in phase 1 grieving.
Yeah.
Like, everybody is still in the part where we're all learning how to, like, live life without her. And this is me speaking, as somebody who wasn't even really, really close with her. And I'm glad, like, selfishly for me, it's been through this process that I've been able to get more in touch with my feelings about her passing.
Yeah.
Because I think I'd been repressing them before.
Yeah.
Yeah, and doing this, I mean, literally having to, like, embody a person living through parts of their life story forced me.
Speaking their words.
Yeah. Forced me to get in touch with my feelings about her. And then also, just, like, bearing witness to and receiving everybody else's feelings too. Looking out in the crowd and people are crying because, again, we're literally grieving right in this moment.
I remember the moment when you shared the line that was like the trans woman sharing with Cecilia, like, these are 3 things you need to know. What were they?
It's, you're gonna be a whore, you're gonna get high, and you're gonna die young.
When you said you're gonna die young.
Yeah.
That hurted.
Yeah.
The tension in the audience, like, there was, like, you could feel the hearts breaking.
Yeah.
At that line.
Yeah. And it's like, it's like when it was just Cecilia doing the show, it was just, like, pure 100% fun.
Yeah.
Everybody's there to have a good time. This 100%. obviously has, like, a total undercurrent of, like, literally live grief.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then also these little moments, which were just, like, kind of fun and funny when Cecilia was doing them.
Yeah.
That now that we have this hindsight are heavy, and like the line, the, like, iconic line, I realized I would rather live a short life.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly what it was, but I would rather live a short life that's honest than a long life that's a lie.
Yeah.
It's really heavy.
It is.
I'll be totally honest, I was resistant to going.
Totally. I get that.
And Lo was very much like, we should go, I think you'll regret it if you don't go. It's a beautiful show.
Yeah.
So I did go, but I think I was in a weird mood the whole time, to be honest. And I really got sucked into the story, but I was just thinking of the person.
Totally.
And I think it's weird, like, the way that it's gone from, like, her embodying her own story to, like, almost this, like, canonization of her, the Saint Cecilia thing. I have mixed feelings about that, I guess.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So fresh for us to be sort of running with this like that, I guess. But I don't know. I wasn't super, super close with her. She was beloved in community. I feel like I was at her birthday party at the Bush.
Oh.
I was just, like, there, and she was, like, having her birthday. It's... I'm a very jumbled bag of emotions about it all, but I am so glad that I went and that I saw it.
I'm glad you came, too. I mean, the way that I really was trying to think about it, especially as a performer, is just, like, regardless of what I might think of, like, the kind of macro, the timeline, like, what it means to be, like you said, like, canonizing Cecilia in this way. I was just trying to be like, okay, for the people who are here in the room right now, this is who this is for.
Yeah.
Because it also wasn't like, it wasn't like a sold out smash hit, my run, you know, like, which makes sense to me. Like, that's the nature of the show. It's not like, it's not Oh Mary. Like, we're not having an incredible time.
Yeah.
So I really just had to be like, okay, for whoever's here in the room, this is who it's for.
Yeah.
I couldn't help but think about where she might have been headed in her career as a performer too.
Yeah.
Totally.
And I just couldn't shake that thought when I was sitting there. I'm like, you know, I really wish I'd gone to see her perform. And the writing was just so dynamic,
It's
so uproariously funny.
It
like,
was.
I feel like it would have gone places, you know?
Yeah. It's like bittersweet. Like, I'm so glad she was able to actually be able to write the play and perform the play. But to lose her in the midst of all that rise.
Yeah. It's sad. I feel like there's certainly like potential that wasn't lived out, but
it's sad. There's no bones about that.
Right.
It's
But
really sad.
it was a good show, produced by Sada Ramirez, right?
Produced by Sada Ramirez, Breaking the Binary Theater, George Struss, Ian Field Stewart, Flower. I'm not sure what Flower's last name, but shout out to Flower. Nick Corey, the director, who directed The Run with Cecilia.
Yeah.
So it was cool because it was you know, the original.
The OG
team.
folks, yeah.
And I was so impressed, Jess. Like, obviously, we know you for your comedy. You are a comic. But I was so impressed with your ability to do that level of drama. Seriously.
Thank you.
You're a performer, like a real performer beyond stand-up. Not that I'm denigrating stand-up. Stand-up is...
I'm sorry. Did I just hear a siren?
Oh, yeah. New York City, baby! What was I just saying?
You're a performer.
You were praising my performance abilities.
Yes. Stand-up is a very specific kind of repetitive performance, but this was just like completely different. It was giving one woman show. And I'm just so much more, I don't know, almost like zoomed in, like just so much more focused on like your physicality, I guess.
Yes.
You know?
Well, it was so fun to do the show because it asked me to do something I would otherwise really never get asked to do. Really.
Yeah.
And it's so different from my regular stand-up, which is just literally me just being myself.
Yeah.
Did you find that a challenge?
I loved it. I really loved it. And I loved that, like, due to the nature of what it was, you know, I was like, okay, it's like 100% for community.
Yeah.
It's not like an industry job. Like, it's not something where I'm going in being like, what can I, like, how is this going to follow me into the next thing? I was like, it's not. Like, that's not what it is.
Yeah.
And knowing that it was for, like, a grieving community, I was like, I have no choice except to, like, put 100% of myself into this.
Yeah. It's like the ultimate motivation.
Yeah. There can be no misgivings. There can be no part where, you know, there's so many things I have to do in that show.
Yeah.
Which I would be embarrassed to do if I had to do them in a different context. Pantomime sucking dick in a bathroom. Like, have, like, the best orgasm of your life, like, in front of everybody.
That was
which you
so
nailed,
funny.
By the way, you really.
Thank you.
That was very silly.
I felt like I was in that bathroom with you.
Exactly. Thank you. So I was glad, just to, like, be given, I don't know, I just was like, I have no choice except to commit to this 100%.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, if I had gotten that in, like, an audition or, like, for something else, I might be like, I don't want to do that. Like, I feel weird. So it really forced me to go out of my comfort zone.
Which is the best way to grow.
Yeah, and I loved
really
that.
is.
I loved that.
Incredible.
And I'm glad that this show came to me during my gay era. Because I couldn't have. I know that I myself couldn't have done it before.
In your les era.
In my dyke era.
That is so interesting.
I would not have.
Would you go on stage and pantomime sucking dick like that? Like, they really put their pussy into that.
If you were called to do it.
If I was, well,
like, for a performance.
If you were divinely called
I think I'd have to.
If it was a very special incredible performance like this. Yeah.
I felt divinely called to do it.
Yeah.
But I was glad I understood.
Yeah.
You're an atheist that was divinely called.
Mm-hmm.
That's the show.
Yeah.
That's the show.
That's literally the show.
But also thinking about, like, what is divinity? You know, what is the universe? Like, I've been thinking a lot about how it's like a collection of our ancestors. You know, like when we receive messages from the universe, when we do tarot, you know, what is this energy that's coming back to us? And I feel like a lot of it, you know, I don't know, I want it to be ancestors. I don't know, a lot of mine were homophobic maybe. But so,
sure. I have evil
you
ancestors.
can change their mind.
Right.
I have an evil lineage.
Yeah.
So,
What? You mean your Japanese side?
Oh, any of them.
Whoa.
I'm Japanese and Chinese. It doesn't take that much to go.
Yeah. And I'm sure, of course, I have, you know, queer ancestors.
Sure. They were somewhere.
Shout out to y'all.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm very connected to my ancestors. You have like an altar, an
I
ancestral
was raised, in Hinduism, you create an altar, and Hinduism is also very, like, you believe God is in the image of God. Mm-hmm. So if you go to a Hindu temple and they have these statues, they bathe them in milk, they dress them every day, they give them food. Yes. Wow. You go to a Hindu temple, they're wearing, like, they're blinged out, they're in all this jewelry. It's really like you're playing house with these deities. And even at your home altar, you know, you have images of the deities and you, like, cover it, you know, for them to, like, go to sleep. And, like, when you make an offering, you bring them food and you, like, let them eat that food.
I didn't know that. See, I thought you were just being private. You're like, I don't need your nosy ass looking at my altar. You put them to bed?
Yeah, and it's more like I don't really want them seeing what I'm doing out here.
Right. True.
But I bring that up to say, you know, now that, you know, we've lost Cecilia, she is, you know, someone who we can hopefully try to connect with, you know, in other ways, like spiritually. And maybe she's the one that called you to do this, too. Mm-hmm.
I do feel I was given this gift.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just sad. It's just a sad gift.
Let's get on a happier topic.
Let's do it.
You want to talk about the boyfriend? Let's talk about the boyfriend.
Speaking of gay eras.
Gay era.
So, The Boyfriend is a Japanese gay dating show it's very relaxing.
It's so relaxing.
Not,
I don't find that.
You don't?
I don't find that. And
really?
This is a cultural difference.
That is a cultural difference.
It's a cultural difference in a cultural reading. I find it to be the antithesis to relaxing.
Oh my god.
Stresses me out.
Oh my god.
Stresses me out.
You're cracking me up.
I'm actually dying right now.
No,
like, how could it not be?
My blood pressure, because Japanese people are sick.
Okay.
Japanese people are sick. And this is just for context, for the show, and also in our friendship. Mona, you know this, but we've only been hanging out a little bit recently.
Yes.
I'm half Japanese, half Chinese, American. I'm 5th generation American on my Japanese
Always
side.
blows my mind.
Wow.
So I'm very...
You're like, I'm more American than anybody.
I'm lost in the sauce.
Yeah.
No, I'm lost in the sauce. It's fucked up. It's messed up. And I watch shows like The Boyfriend, and they actually make me go, thank God. Thank God my ancestors left Japan and came here because this is better. That's worse. Wow. That's actually worse. The Boyfriend, okay, these guys are so repressed.
They are incredibly repressed.
I've only watched like 5 episodes, so don't spoil me.
I won't.
How come in every single episode, 5 episodes in, nobody's kissed yet?
Yeah.
Nobody has kissed. Yeah. Nobody has held hands. They've barely touched each other. Yeah. It's so stressful.
Yeah. Remember when someone tried to, I think it was it Dai that tried to kiss
June?
And then June was like,
rejected.
No,
and he's like, you're freaking me out right now.
So on the beach.
Yes, at the sunset.
I thought that was crazy.
I feel like part of it's also just the cameras.
No, it is, but
I immediately thought that I could never hack it in Japan because have you seen the Brazilian guy that came on?
Yes. No, and he shows up.
He's blowing through there like a hurricane.
The second he shows up, I was like, oh, a sex haver has arrived. A person who has had sex is here, and he's messing the vibe up.
I feel like Dai fucks.
Dai fucks too, but there's a deep shame. There's
Remember,
a deep shame
Shun
when,
was looking
yes,
on
when
his
he
phone?
sees his nudes
Yeah.
and he freaks out.
Yeah.
And there's actually a really a good article that someone I know, Aki, I don't know what Aki's last name is, but he wrote an article about Aki he is half Japanese and half Latin American. I can't remember his ethnicity, but he's from Tokyo.
Okay.
And he's gay. And he wrote an article about how because the commentators that they have on the show are mostly straight people,
Mm-hmm.
they miss like a huge conversation about being gay in Japan. And so like when moments like that happen, where like Shun finds Dai's grinder pics and is really scandalized, all of the commentators are like, oh, it must have been so hard for him to see that. And it takes the one gay guy to be like, actually, that's like what gay guys do.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think that's the appeal of the show to me, is I'm just like, who are these quiet, well-behaved gay guys? Like,
they're just Japanese people.
What? Like,
the one guy, Kazuto, he's fresh off the rice farm. I was like, these guys, they're virgins. You don't, like, you have to remember, like, Japan is a place, and I don't know what it's like for the gay guys, but Japan is a place where people are 38 years old and they have not lost their virginity.
Oh, shit.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, Japan is... Somebody just told me this recently, that, like, the government set up this thing where, like, you get, like, an income if you have more than 3 kids. Because, like, they're not having kids and they're not having sex. So, like, these are people...
The society is dying off.
Right. And it's, like, in America, for me as, like, an Asian American... gay person.
Mm-hmm. Sex haver.
Notorious. Notorious.
One of the best
sex.
ever do it.
One of the best to ever. Listen, I didn't say that. But it has been
Streets
said.
are saying.
It has been said.
Streets are saying.
I see how, like, you know, in America, we're like, okay, sex is taboo.
Yeah.
Being gay is taboo.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're gay, the way that we have responded is to double down. And be like, well, I guess I should just have the nastiest sex in the bathroom.
It cancels out.
Yes. Well, it doesn't cancel out. It's that we've chosen...
to already be taboo.
This is already so bad that let's go even worse.
Yeah.
Like, let's go piss in each other's mouths in the back of the
I don't think that dykes are like that.
Dykes are not like that, but gay men.
Yeah.
But in Japan, it's like sex is taboo and being gay is taboo. So this is doubly bad.
Yeah.
And
sex being taboo is like crazy though.
Normal, regular, God's
it's not
sex.
regular
God's
amount
heterosexual sex is taboo.
It's crazy. I'm just like, well, America is like.
I mean,
so
we're sick.
Christian.
We're sick.
That's also like, it's the society is saying, okay, sex is taboo, but then you have like the Japanese id where that in like hentai and you know
shit
all
comes
this,
out.
like...
Also, aren't the guys on The Boyfriend like from the countryside?
Many of them, yeah.
Yeah, they're not giving Tokyo.
Yeah,
no,
or big city in general.
No,
I see that.
And very few of them appear like, at least to my American eye. Only some of them look like they like interface with gay life in their everyday lives. I don't know that for a fact, but that's how they seem to me. You like Alan shows up, and I was like, this one is gay.
Yeah.
Like this one is gay, and he's gay when he goes out, and he
is
walks
Alan
around,
the
and people are like,
the Brazilian one.
Yeah.
I saw him on a Boiler Room set that someone sent to me. He's like right up on the DJ.
So funny.
So that's how Alan parties.
That tracks.
I loved the episode where he showed up.
Yeah.
He just blew through that. Oh, I had a crush on Dai until Dai started being weirdly fascist. Remember?
Oh my god. Let's talk about that
conversation. And then
Japanese people.
He was like
Japanese
very
people.
resistant to change.
He like couldn't even admit it. And then the Brazilian guy was such a he was a queen. Like the way that he handled that, the way he just like shut it down. He was like, well, you know, that's your opinion.
Yeah.
It's like your opinion, man.
I think also he's quite young. You know, the age.
They're all 23.
They're not all. Some of them are
Some
older.
of them are in their 30s.
Like Taekyon is about
you can't tell
the go-go dancer is like
he's
36.
older. And Taekyon, who was having that conversation with him and trying to explain him, like, actually society should be fluid. Like, we should be changed. And especially, it's so interesting to me as a gay person to like be resistant to change. Like, we are part of the change.
Right.
Gay people are often at the forefront of a lot of progressive movements too.
I had a friend. I made friends with this random Japanese woman named Yuki who showed up at our Fire Island house last year.
Okay.
who's like Japanese from Japan and is like an art hairstylist for editorials.
Oh, cool.
In New York. And I asked her, she's like a classic fag hag. So I was like, what is it like?
A dying breed.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, so what is like gay like life in Japan? And she was like, Japan is not a homophobic country. You know, we're not a Christian country. We're not religious. So like, we don't do that. It's worse to be weird than it is to be gay. You can be gay as long as you're normal.
Oh, no. But the whole thing about being gay is you're allowed to be weird.
Right, but not in Japan.
Not in Japan.
I see.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah,
so I find that show stressful because
Okay.
to me, it just reads like a bunch of like really intensely repressed guys who've like never...
Well, Shun, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm still
He's
his
very
backstory.
stressful. He's very stressful.
His backstory, though.
He's traumatized. I get it.
Yeah, I'm like, I actually get it.
I
Like,
get it, but...
he's been through it.
This is the thing. Just because someone is really traumatized doesn't mean you have to deal with it all the time.
Oh, well said, Jess.
Mic drop.
Honestly.
And so the whole die shooting thing, I was like, let
Yeah.
him go. Like, you're like a normal gay
toxic.
guy. You're like a normal gay guy who like hits someone up on Instagram to have sex with them, even though you have to say we went all the way. Like, don't. This guy's just too traumatized. I was like, no.
I know.
I watch a Japanese reality show, and all I can think is these people need to go to therapy, and they never will.
Yeah.
Because they don't have therapy in Japan.
Oh, they don't?
Yeah, I
No,
was
they
going to
don't
say,
do
what's the mental health situation?
Horrible. They have a high suicide rate. That's like the thing about Japan. That's like the total thing about Japan is that people just, they graduate school, they work as an accountant, and then they commit suicide. Or they don't.
Damn.
That's terrible. Free Japan.
Free Japan.
They've
imprisoned themselves.
But, you know.
I have to ask, though, who is your favorite boy?
Yeah.
On The Boyfriend.
I think... well, I loved Usak.
Yeah.
Until he totally pussied out.
Yeah.
Totally pussied out.
Oh my god, the chicken shakes guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you love?
He's sexy.
He's hot.
And I like that he was sexy, but also shy.
Yeah, it is cute.
He was
shy. And I
he's
love
a bit
that
of a
he wore
coquette.
glasses.
His glasses and his big shirts.
Yeah.
Oh my god. That's the thing about Japan is all these guys on an American show with gay guys, they would all be wearing tank tops.
Yeah.
And these people, he's drinking chicken shake every single day to look like this. And then he hides it. He hides his shameful body.
Oh, man.
And
He's a celebrity, though, right? He's like a minor celebrity.
He's like a famous go-go boy. He's like a famous gay, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
But not in a way where it confers to him any confidence or self-worth.
Yeah. You're so
Damn.
right. Jess, you're blowing my mind. I had this nice vision of
Me
like, a
too.
relaxing
I'm
Japanese gay dating show. You're breaking it open for me.
I'm just going to go ahead and say, and I mean, I don't know, maybe in Japan it's also relaxing for them because they don't know the difference.
Sure.
Right.
But I do think it's a Western eye on this kind of show and on like Terrace House.
Yeah, that makes
shows
sense.
like that to be like, this is so relaxing. They're not like screaming and fighting
exactly
and like, throwing drinks
that
on each
really
other.
is, yeah,
because that's what an American show is like. That's what Real Housewives is like.
Excellent quality product.
But yeah, I do think it's giving like
Housewives.
it's giving like quiet tiny Asians, you know.
Wow.
Is not. I'm not saying like you're like. I'm just adding another texture.
Yeah, for sure.
Mr. Glasses was pretty good though.
Usak.
No, other Mr. Glasses.
Taehyun?
Yes.
Yeah, he was cute.
Well, I mean, talk about how they treat the Korean guy on the show.
Oh, wait, who's the Korean guy?
Taehyun.
Oh, he's my favorite now that Dai turned out to be a loser. Because he was the one that, like, told him what's what.
Yeah.
And he's, like, a designer. He has those, like, really nice
cute.
gold, thin,
He's
round
really
glasses.
cute.
He's really cute.
He's
really cute.
He's a cutie.
But is he on the show very much? And do any of the boys like him? No. And why is that?
Wow.
Why is that, huh?
Jess,
why is that?
Thank you for asking me why is that.
Damn.
We know why.
Damn.
Yeah.
We know why is that.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm shook right now. I don't even know what to say.
I'm like, I got a new view on this show. That's for sure.
Sorry, Japanese people are crazy.
Don't be sorry. Yeah.
I mean, that's your people in them, so.
Yeah.
Come get your people.
Mm-hmm.
Things have to be really bad for me to be like, thank God we came to America.
Right. Honestly.
Yeah.
We say...
Japan is not like a, it's not like a developing nation. You know what I mean? It's not
it's
like...
a wealthy
They've
nation.
got quite fast trains there.
Yeah.
It's better than here.
Yeah. And even still.
Yeah.
What about China?
I don't know. China's big.
True.
Yeah, there's a lot of options.
China's big, so I can't make as many generalizations about it based on things I've heard.
What about Taiwan?
We want to go to Taiwan.
I want to go to Taiwan.
We want to do a gay
We
trip.
all should.
We should go.
We should probably go pretty soon while it still exists.
Yeah.
Damn. It's like that?
I think everywhere's like that.
God damn.
Is it not? Is it not?
You're not wrong.
mean,
We got 5 good years left on this
Right?
planet, I think.
It's hot. It's hot. It's the hottest summer on record. The thing, Sorry, I was going to say something fucked up.
Hey, say it.
I just
Please.
think about that tweet that's like, actually, this is the coolest summer of the rest of your life.
That's Homer Simpson.
I was about to
Is
say.
it?
Yes. That's
Someone's
an
like-
adapted Homer Simpson joke.
Wow.
Yeah.
Homer.
Homer.
He is not up there.
Word up to Homer.
Word
Wherever
up.
he is.
My favorite show growing up. Yeah. I mean, all islands are kind of,
Wait,
ocean.
can I say something?
Please.
Okay, so today on this day of this recording,
Mm-hmm.
Kamala Harris has chosen Tim Walz for
Yes.
which I don't want to talk about that
Kamala
specifically.
Harris.
I don't want to talk about that specifically. What I do want to say is that it seems like when the three of us hang out, some huge
Some big
thing
things.
happens.
It's
in
so
the American
weird.
political
It's
sphere.
absolutely
agree.
true.
Yeah.
The last time
time
three of
we
us were
hung
together,
out at the Tool,
July 20th,
We dropped
2024.
acid, and then Biden dropped out
Biden dropped
on
out.
the day of the full moon.
And it was the day that the parable of the sower started.
Right.
Mm.
The
Which
day
is-
that Lauren, July 20th.
Yeah, the first diary entry that Lauren
2024.
Olamina made. Which, honestly, that weekend was very spiritual for me.
Oh,
It was.
It changed my life, to be honest.
Really?
Wow.
Oh yeah, I'm so glad.
We had
I'm
some
so
fun.
glad
really,
I got to give you that,
Yeah.
I guess.
No, thank you so much.
Of course.
Because
Some
it really
fun
did.
tarot readings.
Yeah, the tarot
Tarot.
readings were everything.
Powerful.
Mhm.
Shout out to Anuva.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
No,
That was fun.
that really switched something for me. So
Okay.
I'm really grateful for that.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
so happy.
I love that. That's like the best part of hallucinogens.
Yeah,
is
for real.
when it's like randomly just like a hard reset on your
Mhm.
soul.
Totally.
Mhm.
Somebody, oh man, who was it that just said this to me? My friend Greer was saying that like hallucinogens can be like Greer also was quoting somebody else with this, that some mushroom guy,
Mm.
that it's like, everything in your brain is a snow globe, and when you do hallucinogens, it like shakes the snow globe,
Wow.
and then everything resettles into a new place, but it's still the same stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good ass.
The new
analogy.
neural pathways
Mhm.
that are being forged
Mhm.
when you trip. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
It's really
crazy.
powerful.
Like, you could be stuck on something for so long and then randomly
Yeah.
do drugs, and then your brain's just like, "Pfft, why are you tripping?"
Totally.
Right.
And then you're like, oh, tripping, that's not what I meant. But, you know what I mean. And it's just like, actually, why was I bugging? Like,
Yeah.
it's not that important. It's like you can see yourself,
Mhm.
all the way down there.
Can I also tell you something, Mona?
Yeah.
It meant a lot to me on that trip that you identified me as brown.
You are in the summer.
Thank you.
That's like
Brown fishing.
Thank you.
You
No.
get hella dark in the summer. No, I'm kidding.
It's
You
not
are
fishing,
brown.
That's what I look like.
Yeah, you are
That's what I
brown.
look like.
You are brown.
But no, thank you. That meant a lot to me.
That is.
That's a
A
good.
highest
That's a
compliment.
good ass compliment.
Mhm.
It is.
Yeah.
It
Mhm.
is. It is.
And that's why we had to have you on this brown ass podcast.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
We gotta let them know.
Thank you.
You're one of
This is
us.
like a good ass melanin spread. Right
Yes.
I just think, I think that not especially more than anybody else, but especially in its own particular way, East Asian people get really kind of glossed up. Like, people really want to say, they want to make lateral this thing that's like light skin, East Asian,
Oh,
privilege,
yeah.
Totally.
Oh yeah.
and say like, just because you have one of these things, it must be all of them.
Right.
Which is not to say I don't have plenty of privileges. I certainly do. But I just think people want to like flatten us out a lot.
Definitely.
When we're actually
dark
some of the most diverse people.
Say it.
And, I mean, if you literally only look at Chinese people, it's
Right.
actually like an extremely diverse.
It's a huge place,
Right.
of course.
Many ethnic groups of many
Right.
types of people from
100%.
different lineages that I think that in America we really want to make flat.
Of course.
You always say that about Indian people too.
Oh my god,
I'm
it's
like,
crazy. It's crazy that it's a country.
It's
You know,
crazy.
like honestly,
Totally.
all those languages, all the different races, you know, let alone.
I don't even
like,
know about all that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But-
I mean, it's a tenet of white supremacy. You know,
Yeah.
they're just gonna
Flatten it all.
Mm-hmm.
Word. Should I tell my story about Kamala Harris?
please.
Oh boy.
Oh God. I have to. It's
do
like
have
if I
to,
don't
you
if
have
I don't
to.
tell it now, like
You
when
have
to.
will I? So Kamala Harris tried to get me fired from my job. Her campaign. I don't think that she personally had anything
Sure.
to do with it. But this is when I worked on a talk show, which shall remain unnamed
Mhm.
and no longer exists. But they were going to interview her on the talk show. And I guess her campaign manager, who was her sister,
Oh,
Maya.
interesting.
Maya Harris, went through the tweets of people who worked on the show, which they found. Okay, so they found a tweet
That's
of
the most
mine
cop
that said,
thing to do, also.
"That's okay." Literally,
My
what
bad,
I'm
but-
getting to.
Sorry, yeah.
The tweet read, I think it was Kamala is a cop and a clown. Which, like, that's not nice.
Where's the
I'll
lie?
admit that's a bitchy thing to
But
say.
plenty of tweets are not nice.
That's pretty
It's
kind
one
as
of
far
those-
as your tweets go. I gotta say, am I wrong?
Yeah.
This internet bully over here.
Right. No, I was just so shocked that she was doing like surveillance on, and like what would your intent be if you weren't like trying to get someone fired? And credit to the people that I worked for at the time, they were kind of just like, that's really weird that you would do that, and it kind of like put whatever their negotiations were like on ice. Like I think they were gonna fly out to California to interview her, and then they were like, I don't know.
Wow.
And they did end up interviewing her in New York, but it was just like a very odd thing where I was like, why are you my op right now? Like my number one op is gonna be president.
But were you there when she got interviewed?
I think it was remote that day. I don't think I was in the studio. I was not in the studio.
But I said this to you before, and I'll say it again. How powerful for you.
Yes.
That's true.
How powerful for you.
I have a good
potentially-
story to tell.
That's an incredible story.
Yeah, and that the potential president of the United States
Yeah.
tried to take you down and failed.
And she did
And
it.
failed.
And
Failed.
Take note.
I want to go back to the tweet.
Oh God, yeah.
Kamala is a cop and a clown.
Everyone's gonna get so mad at us.
It's
We are
okay.
gonna get
Listen,
so yelled
I
at.
feel like of all people, you all should
Yes,
be allowed
exactly.
to say that.
Let's say cop. Okay, let's dissect it. Cop.
Yeah.
You were
That's
as
factual.
DA. You were top cop.
That's factual.
We didn't even say cops suck.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
We just said Kamala's a cop. Where's the lie there?
That's factual.
Moving on to clown.
Mm.
Clown could be an insult.
But it could be a compliment.
It could be you. I would say you're a professional clown.
I love clowning.
In my opinion, I think the three of us here are clowns.
We're all
I'm-
clowns here.
I'm
I'm
a
a clown.
comics.
I am a clown.
I'm a clown.
I self-identify as a clown.
Yeah.
So I think I don't even know why she was
What
mad.
why was she mad though? I didn't even say anything wrong. Like
I don't
free
think
me,
you did.
honestly.
Free Mona.
Free Mona in Japan.
And
Mhm.
Japan.
That's the episode title.
And all those gay boys.
Yeah.
Liberate yourselves, guys.
Wow.
Yeah. So that and she chose Tim Walz, who is he's okay. He's like less bad than the other guy that
Yeah.
everyone was scared she was gonna pick.
I saw Sunrise Movement. Shout out to him. And I was like, all right, I trust that.
Yeah.
If the kids are behind him, I'm behind him. You know?
He's good on the kids.
Yeah.
I think it's good. Is this going to get me in trouble like the last time I said even one single word
Yeah,
about
probably.
the election?
Yeah.
Wait, did you get in trouble?
I did get in trouble.
I'm sorry.
I did get in trouble for even suggesting a framework which somebody conveyed to me from their communist Marxist class, which I, like an idiot, thought meant people wouldn't yell at me about this.
No.
That, people are voting not to, like, vote and, like, accept whoever it is, but to, like, vote to try to organize against them,
100%.
which is a literal communist strategy. I saw a video of Angela Davis saying, like, the United States government will never save us, and yet we still have to vote. So I guess all these people who know better than Angela Davis came out of the woodwork to call me an idiot. But I do think what I'm actually going to say is I do think it's good that there was one candidate for this who was a literal, like, Zionist money candidate. Like, a pure, upfront Zionist money candidate. And it was publicly decided that was not the right choice. And I think that is good.
I think that signifies a ton of movement. They give a fuck now. She's not trying to, like, throw the race away, I guess, before it even begins. So we can start there. And we're all talking about Josh Shapiro, right?
Yes.
So he's, like, a hardline Zionist.
Yes.
He, like, volunteered to go to Israel, I believe, to serve.
I think he was in the idea.
Yeah. So it always gets me that people volunteer. And then there's the little kids who are like, I'm going to jail, bitch. Make me pick up a gun.
Right.
You can't. Yeah.
Exactly.
There's a new one now. There's another little acne-covered little brown hair.
Good for them. Good
guy.
Good for them.
I know.
But I just think, like, especially since the way things have obviously been going, it has seemed very, like, lucrative and, like, popular to, like, go just full, like, I've been bought by the government of this other country. I tentatively think it's good to have just not chosen that.
Yeah.
Very much a good thing.
We'll take the progress.
What was I going to say?
But I don't believe in electoral politics in America, okay? I just think we're trapped in the thing, and so we have to do the thing that we're doing within the trap while we also do the other stuff.
I agree. And all my smartest friends are saying that.
That's what organizers.
I feel like if you're saying that, I have to ask you, like, are you an accelerationist then? So, like, do you want things to go, you want people to suffer for things to be sped up? Like, that's sort of the counterpoint, isn't it? It's like, okay, don't vote at all. Sure, she loses, Trump gets elected, everything goes to shit, then a mass movement will arise out of that.
Right.
Like, fucking ocean of human misery. And then, maybe things will get better.
That's what I'm saying is I think it's easy for white people sometimes. And, like, what I was really doing, that's what's so funny about me getting in all that trouble for that tweet was that was just me subbing someone else. Like, it was just a fucking shit post, me being rude about this white person who I was seeing going on and on and on about, like, vote for them is supporting them, idiot. And I was like, well, isn't that nice for you?
Yeah, exactly.
And won't things be nice for you? How
Always.
No matter what happens, you will come
insulated.
out on top.
Yes.
You will come out on top. And, like, anyway, blah, 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 light-skinned East Asian privilege. But, like, my grandmother went to internment camp. So it's like when all of these white people, when these white people are like, when they send us to camps, I'm sort of like, well, they did. And they have and they are currently.
Right.
So.
They call them detention camps. Like, it's no secret.
Right? So white people need to read a book and shut up, honestly.
I just think there's no, like, you are saying that from a place of being insulated from whatever bad things will happen. But I simply cannot throw scores of people under the bus to whatever horrifying fate awaits them in the hopes that things will get better sooner. And by the way, the people who are like, I'm not going to vote, it's not like you're organizing the rest of the year to fix things.
Exactly.
So it's kind of like, this argument makes no sense from multiple perspectives to me.
I also think things did get worse. Like, we already had Trump.
We already
have the legacy of whoever he packed the Supreme Court with. We've already had
Roe is gone.
Like, I feel like the progress that we're seeing now is already, it's not enough in our opinion, but it is the response to that.
It is. It's
the organizing has already been happening.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to the uncommitted movement. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Muslims in the state of Michigan. Yes. Shout out to anybody who has put pressure on this campaign to not play in our faces.
Totally. And I agree with that. Like, I'm not saying, like, this is great and let's accept it.
Yeah, no one is.
Yeah.
No one on this couch.
Yeah, no one on this couch is. Like, be so for real.
Yeah.
I can't even vote.
That's true. That's true.
I'm in these conversations. I'm over here calling you a cop and a clown.
Yeah, but
listen. You fucking up your interviews. I can't even vote.
But you are organizing.
Oh, I'm an organizer.
Yes. You're organizing enough for 10 people, I would say.
Someone's got to do it.
Yeah.
There's some fucking amazing organizers in this city. Mm-hmm. And I know that New York will always, like, I pray always be okay because of that.
That's how we have anything we do have. Our strong social services, our strong, like my family, I attribute the success of my family to social services in New York. Mm-hmm. Like to come to this city undocumented, low income, and be able to, I am a comfortable person, living a comfortable life. Mm-hmm. And it's because of all the organizing that's been done over the years to provide these services to people.
Cecilia was such a powerful organizer.
Yes. Cecilia changed our lives. So much of what I have is because of Cecilia. And
hormone access,
I didn't really
informed
know that
consent,
at the time.
all of it. We take for granted.
Totally.
Literally, even one generation of trans people ago, it was like, even like 2012, 2013.
Very recently.
Super recently. Just a completely different world to be trans in.
People take a lot of this shit for granted.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, like, that's what I think sometimes when I see sometimes, like, younger trans people who, like some... Doing the Cecilia thing has really, for me, doing that show is such a culmination of both my... like 10 years of like working in the industry and working in comedy, but also 10 years of like cultivating deep community and deep queer community. And like when I look around sometimes in these like trans spaces that like younger people are in, I literally think, because of this moment right now, I'm literally like, do you even know Cecilia? I'm like, do you know who Cecilia is?
Do you know her impact?
Did you know like that you getting hormones like 2 years ago or whatever is like due to Cecilia? And like, do you know that world? Do you know those people who are there? Do you know these older trans women who have been organizing?
Right.
Do you know any of these people who like I kind of came up with?
Yeah. And do you even care to learn? Too.
Yeah.
Remember they got mad at me in the car on the way over here because I said I was 40? I was like, I'm basically 40.
That is not true. It's literally mathematically incorrect.
I rounded up.
Okay, Mona said I was rounding up. I said that is not how rounding up works.
That's not rounding.
Mona said that's what my mom would say. I said yes, mathematically speaking,
You're 34.
It is literally wrong.
It is.
I'm in my mid-30s.
Okay, that's not 40.
It's basically
it's a
hop and a skip.
You cannot round up from 34 to 40. It's just not.
It literally is not.
It's not how it works.
No matter where you go in the world.
All right. Okay.
It's the universal language of numbers.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
No, we all agree.
We all agree on numbers.
We all agree. Every single one of us probably came from a culture that at one point, originated algebra. Originated some kind of mathematical.
I'm Arab.
Right.
Right.
Girl, you should know.
Right. So, I think your ancestors would tell you you're not 40.
Slow down, enjoy your life.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Cecilia, for all the work.
Thank you, Cecilia.
That you've done, looking down on us today. And thank you, Jes.
Thank you
so much for joining us. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube.
Leave us a review because we would love to hear from you.
And follow us on social media. We are at BooFooPod on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
And we'll be starting a Patreon soon at the same handle, BooFooPod, so look out for that. My handle is at YourFriendMona on Instagram.
Thank you for listening, our beloved buffoons.